Today, I'm going to be making triple chocolate brownies. This is from Jane's Patisserie. And Frankie sent me this recipe and she said you should try to make these brownies. So thank you, Frankie, for sending me the recipe. I will put a link in the description below so that you can go there yourself and you can try to make these brownies if they sound good to you. We're going to go over the ingredients. You need 200 grams of dark chocolate. So you're gonna, if you're in the United States, a lot of this is in grams, just so you know. You're gonna buy 2 of these Baker's bars, and you're gonna use like 1 3/4 of the bars.
You'll have 4 squares left.
Yeah, this is all you're gonna have left is a piece this big left. You're gonna use all but a piece this big. Then you're gonna need 200 grams. It says unsalted butter. I'm using regular butter. It's mine's not unsalted.
And that's a stick and just a little over 3/4.
Right. And then you're going to need 3 large eggs or 4 medium eggs, which I'm using 3 large. You're going to need 1 1/4 cup of castor sugar. You need 100 grams of plain flour. You need 50 grams of cocoa powder. And then you need 100 grams each of white chocolate, milk chocolate, and dark chocolate. And you could use chips or chunks. I bought all chips.
And just a note, when we're saying the grams, we literally took a scale and measured it out. And weighed it. I
have a kitchen scale, and I put the empty bowl on here and tared it to 0. And then you add your stuff to it.
Yeah, so you're actually weighing it.
Because a lot of times you know, if it says 1.5 cups, you just use 1.5 cups. You don't have to weigh stuff out a lot over in the United States. So you want to preheat your oven to 356 degrees. You want to line a 9-inch square pan with parchment paper. And the first thing you want to do is you want to take your butter and your chocolate, and you're gonna put this in the microwave. I'm gonna break these up into smaller pieces, this chocolate, but you're gonna put this in the microwave. You're gonna microwave it for 1 to 2 minutes until it is melted together and it's creamy, and then we're gonna set it aside and we're gonna let it cool to room temperature before we come back. Our chocolate has been cooling for 20 minutes and we're going to continue to let it cool while we start our next step. What we want to do now is we want to whisk our sugar and eggs together. And I'm going to tell you the exact wording that they used on the recipe. It says, using an electric whisk or stand mixer, whisk together the eggs and castor sugar for a few minutes until the color has turned pale, is very mousse-like, and is double the original volume of the amount of eggs plus sugar. You will know it's done because when you lift the whisk up out of the mix, it should leave a trail for a couple of seconds before disappearing. So that is what you're looking for. And we're not going to film this the whole time, but we'll film it for a minute so you can watch it. We've whisked this, it's probably been whisking for what?
8 minutes or so,
probably, yeah.
8 to 10.
And so this is how it looks. It's gotten a little bit thicker. And we're thinking that this, how would you describe that, Kevin?
It's kind of a whipped up texture, and it has pretty much doubled in size. And it's, but you notice when she drops it in there, it takes it a second to melt back into it or to absorb back into it. So that's what we're looking for.
Now we're going to take our chocolate and we're going to add it to our whisked mixture. It says pour the cooled chocolate over the eggs and fold together carefully. It might take some time, but be patient. You don't want to knock the air out that you just put in there in the previous step. Okay, now it says Once completely combined, sift the cocoa powder and plain flour on top of the chocolate mix and then fold again. Still be careful not to knock out the air. So I have this little handy dandy sifter, and I'm going to pour this in here like this. We're gonna sift this in here. Says fold in the chocolate chips and then pour it into the prepared pan. Okay, so I've spread this out, but I didn't mash it down. It didn't say that, but we just didn't want to do that. It says bake for 25 to 30 minutes. This is how the brownies look after 25 minutes. I kind of like gently shook the container to make sure that they weren't soupy or anything like that in the middle, and they look really good. So 25 minutes is the lowest of their timer time to bake, but it was perfect for us. So now you want to let them cool completely. You're supposed to get 16 pieces out of this. Okay, so like I said, you get 16 servings, which mine were not even, but whatever. It says prep time 10 minutes, cook time 30 minutes, total time 40 minutes. Of course,
which
that's
is a lot.
It
That
is.
doesn't include cool off time.
It doesn't include the waiting or the waiting just during the recipe itself, because you have to, when you heat that butter.
That's what I'm saying. You have to let it cool off. So.
And it took 20 minutes all by itself, and it still wasn't completely room temperature. But we let that chocolate butter combination sit for 20 minutes before we moved on. So there's 20 minutes right there.
We didn't put it in the refrigerator or anything. We just let it sit out.
We let it sit out. But I mean, so that you cannot, very, very rarely can you trust the times, the cook times on these. Just know that. Not a big deal to me, might be to you. So it says triple chocolate brownies, gooey, rich, and super chocolatey triple chocolate brownies. They, I don't think, have the calories, which makes sense. Because everybody's going to buy different brands and all that stuff. You're going to have maybe different, the butter is going to be a little different. Your eggs are going to be a little bit different. I do have to say, these are very thick, and I like that, the look of that.
And these have cooled off completely. So they're not gooey and runny, but I bet you if you cut these when they were hot, they would have been gooey. Like stick on your knife gooey, which they're not. They're very, very soft in the middle though. Even the edge piece is good.
The reason why they're not, they're completely cooled off is because we left the house. They came out of the oven and we left. And so there was no me sneaking in and getting them, cutting them before they were completely cooled. These are, I can't tell you how soft. They're incredibly,
very soft.
You definitely wouldn't want to cut them when they're the least bit soft. I mean, when they're the least bit warm, because they're so soft now that I can't imagine. It seems like they would have run all over the place because they're so incredibly soft.
That's gone. I like it that they're sweet, but they're also kind of dark and rich. So there's a little mixture of both going on. And the textures are really, really good. I like that really soft. It's not even fudgy. It's not cakey. It's literally just like soft and almost gooey kind of texture. I really like that. I like the chips in there too. The chips are really nice. Not one particular chip stands out though. it's all really a good combination of darker chocolate, white chocolate, milk chocolate. It's all mixed really good together. I can also see where pecans or omelets, omelets or walnuts would have been really nice in this too.
Yes.
Just to add that little bit of crunch and that little bit of extra that nuttiness to it, that would have been really
right.
nice.
So if you didn't want, like, say for instance, you don't like white chocolate, you could have left out your 100 grams of white chocolate, and you could have substituted with 100 grams of pecans
Or maybe
walnuts.
50 and 50. Take out 50 of the white and 50 of the dark and put 100 grams of walnuts or pecan.
These, I
really
wondered, honestly, when I was making these, I thought, is this going to be worth all this effort? Because you do have to wait at least, I would say at least 20 minutes when you melt that butter and chocolate. And then all the folding. I thought, is this going to actually be worth it? I personally absolutely think it's worth it. I think these are very different from any box mix, because I was telling Kevin, I said, what's going to be the difference in these and buying a box mix? It is different. It's very different. These are, they're richer. They're so soft. The chocolate flavors, like you said, not one particular chocolate stands out, but it's all just very rich. And one of those chips in there is firmer than the other ones.
Yeah, you could feel it when you were biting.
Yeah, so the other ones, it's like they might have melted a little bit, but there was one, and I'm wondering if it's not
probably the dark.
Yeah, usually it's the dark.
And the dark chips are bigger too.
Right, so it might have been those that still have a little bit of form to them. These are incredible brownies, though.
They're very, very good.
So
you just got to take your time doing that folding.
You do, and you have to, I would kind of like flip it over and then twist my fingers around it was a process, but I did it, and I'm glad that I took the time to do it, because I do think somebody would love getting these for a gift if you wanted to wrap them up or anything.
I get impatient when I'm folding stuff, because I start folding it and then I get to the point where I'm like, whatever.
Normally I do too, but then Kevin read in these directions that you had to be patient.
Yeah, over and over. It said it twice, I think. Be patient, take your time.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little time.
And then Kevin told me, it says you have to be patient, and I thought,
that's not Tammy's strong suit.
It's not. I'm not a patient person at all. But I can tell you, it was worth it for these.
Yeah, I think it made them much lighter than they would have been. They would have been much more dense, I think, if you hadn't have done
Yeah, I still think they would be good.
Oh, yeah, they'd still taste good, but they wouldn't have the same texture.
No, they wouldn't have the same texture at all. So, thank you to Frankie. This is not the first recipe that Frankie has sent me, and you have good taste. You have very, very good taste. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. I hope you tried out the brownies out. Like I said, I'm going to leave right below this video. There's a description. I'm going to leave a link below so you can make these yourself. And thanks for watching.